Alright, hey, what's up everyone? I thought for today's video, I haven't done a sketchbook showing in a long time, or basically shown really any of the sketches I've done in the last month or so, besides a couple of streams. So if you guys watched some of the streams in the last couple of months, you might have seen me draw some of these, although a lot of them were also done off stream, so probably a lot of new stuff that you guys haven't seen before. So yeah, just starting. Yeah, so this one, I was really just going through and kind of going wild with like a bunch of different mediums all together. So there's like some red brush pen, there's some like Crayola markers, crayons. But for this one, I basically just like grabbed every single tool I could find and just kind of make a drawing and just keep like swapping into a different pen or marker throughout the whole thing. So it kind of added like a very unique look to it. And then this one was just brush sumi ink and then markers over top. But yeah, this one was a lot of fun. Kind of just experimenting and seeing like more of how like imaginative and kind of dream-like I could make the drawing. Same with this one as well. This is kind of like a somewhat of like a genie or some magic dude behind him. I try to go fast enough so you guys don't take too much of your time, but try to go slow enough so you can actually see them as well. Yeah, this one I actually drew outside, and I usually don't draw outside, but it was pretty fun. And then I also colored it with markers outside too. I remember I was trying to go as fast as possible since it was kind of hot out. And tiger, probably going to be a lot of tigers. I like to do a lot of tigers since my mom used to like tigers a lot. I asked her recently if tigers were still her favorite animal, and she said it wasn't. It's like, no. More sumi ink drawings. And if you haven't seen my videos before, everything that I draw is from my head or memory or imagination, however you wanna describe it. This one is kind of fun. This was with a fountain pen, and it's the ink is called Ott's Blood, so it's like a very dark red, sort of brownish red, but it's really fun to do that and then add markers over top, so it sort of fades the lines a bit, and the red sort of goes with the color more. This one I really like, kind of experimenting with only using like two colors basically, and yeah, just kind of seeing what I could do with very minimal colors. I've been playing a lot around with doing kind of minimal colors and more of like spot colors. This one was really fun. It's a folder that I just started drawing on, and this one was drawn with Crayola marker, and then I colored over with alcohol markers. A little hard to get the full thing on, but yeah, that one was pretty sick to do. I found a bunch of folders in a closet, and I was just like, well, I might as well try drawing on it, and it sounded pretty cool to kind of just go across the whole folder. So yeah, basically same thing. This one was with one of those bigger Crayola markers as well. More Sumi ink, and kind of experimenting with the limited colors. I really like doing the limited colors since then a lot of like the gray or blacks and whites still kind of work, and it doesn't feel like really need to go through and color the whole thing at once. I kind of like this character, the skin tone being that very bright green. Yeah, a lot of folders that I did in the last couple months. I'm not sure when I worked on these, but you could probably find out by looking at when I streamed drawing a lot of these, about how long ago they were. This one was pretty recent. I was kind of just messing around and wanted to get back into traditional drawing since the last couple months. I've been doing a lot of animation and a lot of digital drawing, and now kind of going back to traditional. It's kind of just a natural like flow that I'll do. It's just hopping back in, really kind of just whichever one I can experiment the most with and which one's kind of the most interesting. So kind of play it day by day of what I think I'll have the most fun with. This one was like this week, I think. So it wasn't that long ago. And same with the next couple. I did these all with like within a couple days. And this one was Sumi ink and the last one was brush pen. This one was brush pen. If you're wondering what brush pen is, just a Pentel color brush. They're pretty popular and common nowadays. This one was Sumi ink. And now lately I've been experimenting a lot with outlines. And a lot of when I draw, I try to sort of like put as many characters on a page. So I've been like over the years trying to really fine tune and discover ways to like really maximize how many characters I can fit on a page without it looking super congested and clustered. So outlining really is a little way to sort of add a bit of separation between the characters. So I've been kind of playing around with that. I see a lot of other artists use it, so I'm kind of experimenting, and whenever I see someone else do a cool technique or draw in a certain way, I'll sort of like sometimes test it myself and see if it's really workable with what I'm doing or not. So, and if it is, then I'll kind of like try to add it in and add my own sort of flavor to it. But if it doesn't work, then I will just sort of not do it. Yeah, my favorite character on this page is the shark for sure. Probably one of the first sharks that I ever have drawn to. Alright, so that's it for the smaller one. My sister found this one. This was a drawing that I did for her since she really liked Doctor Strange. And this one I just started. This one is, I used a movie scene as a reference. And just changed the angles and everything. But mostly just used the scene to see what his clothes and different features looked like. And then I just changed it into like a portrait view. I can't remember. It was like a scene where he's like jumping off a building or falling off a building. I can't remember, but it was from one of the newer Doctor Strange movies. But yeah, she really likes the character, so I just drew this for fun. And also I wanted to see like if I could still draw from reference, honestly. This one was going to be a comic cover, and I was gonna start the whole comic with just the cover. I started with the cover and was gonna like sort of base the characters for the story off of the cover, but I kind of just never got around to it. And I kind of do a lot of projects like this where I have like an idea and then I try it out, and sometimes I just end up not going any further because something else comes up that's a little bit more exciting. So kind of just hop around a lot. And this one was a lot of like experimental, like almost abstract, really just going for random splatters and things on the page and then seeing what happens and trying to make it into a character. I have this paper that I don't know what it is, but it's very slick and a little bit glossy. So I've been trying to use this up, and they're quite. It's like 11 by 17 in size, and I was using. There's also a brush pen that I wanted to sort of use up, so I just started using it on these, and yeah, just a bunch of characters. And like I said, I like to kind of put as many characters as I can on a page. I know I said this was kind of like a sketchbook showing, but a lot of the drawings I do are just on plain paper sheets, since they're usually a little bit nicer quality and a lot cheaper than a sketchbook. So I like drawing on these sort of sheets a little bit more. And then I started drawing in a sketchbook again lately though. And then this one is the last one that's kind of that same type. I think I also have time lapses of these. If you guys want to see that, might have to dig a little deep on the channel to find it, but it should be probably somewhere in the time lapse playlist. And then this is the last one of the papers. Probably a lot more drawings I could have digged up, but kind of just wanted to show a lot of the most recent. And then after that, there's kind of like a whole month or two between those and a lot of the more recent ones that I showed. And in between that time, I was doing a lot of digital stuff and animations. All right. And then for the sketchbooks, these sketchbooks, the ones that have my art on it, is ones that I printed off, and they're on my website if you're interested in those. But this is what I've been sketching in lately. And yeah, so this is my most recent sketchbook. Maybe I should show this one last, actually. I'll go a bit in order. This one is just I forget the brand. This one is Talon's sketchbook, and I just drew on top of it with a brush pen, I think. So kind of made just drew on the cover. I kind of didn't like seeing that the cover was plain. And this one was with some water-based fine liner pens, I think. I'll turn this. Yeah, these ones I might have shown, but I think there's a couple drawings in here that I didn't show, so I'll just kind of show it again. Yeah, same those water brushes. I was trying to color with them. This one was like a fine liner Sharpie, and same fine liner Sharpie again, and using a little smudging to shade with. At this time, I was practicing a lot of females and seeing sort of what I liked for drawing them. And a lot of like experimenting and really seeing, basically just testing out a lot of different ways to draw. I kind of always am trying new things out of like boredom, really, and I really like sort of just experimenting with a lot of different ways to draw. I feel like I'm pretty open-minded when it comes to that. A lot of practicing. This one I was practicing like a lot of ways to use black, and I was trying to come up with like different ideas of characters and or items or clothes that I could basically ink the whole area and kind of get like a silhouette effect, and it would also be readable. So like practicing hats, some fur, hair, and just kind of seeing the ways that I could get away with using a lot of ink. Right. This one almost blends in with the table a bit. Yeah, these are these are pretty old. And by old, probably like 5 months ago. But I feel like whenever I look at a lot of my stuff from even like a week ago, it starts to look a little outdated to me. I feel like I've like usually learned a lot in between. I think a lot of these are in my sketch collection book too. But yeah, I like that the sketchbook's a landscape one. I haven't drawn in this one in a while. I've just been kind of drawing in the sketchbooks that I order with my prints on them because it's kind of fun. And I kind of like that they're a little bit smaller, but the horizontal is a lot of fun to do, like sort of scenes going all the way across like this, or all the way vertical like this one. Whoops. Trying not to block my lighting too much or my camera. Yeah, really practicing a lot of scenes and sort of just black and white, really. Nowadays, I like to add color to a lot of them, but I didn't really have markers on me when I was doing these, so try to keep it as simple as possible. A little hard to see. I remember these were really hard to take photos of when I was trying to scan them all, since they were like just so long. I could probably just show it like this. Yeah, this one was a lot of fun. I had just gotten done watching some Mongol stuff, and yeah, I was doing a lot of research on Mongols and samurai and sort of Japan's history a little. So then this was sort of like a info dump of everything I sort of learned. I was practicing like their gunpowder rifles. I put some revolvers in there because I was also practicing a lot of different gun types. And then I tried some like more of a Mongol swords. Some like Mongol archers in the back. And they're like doing the Mongol riding the horseback and stuff. This one, I just started experimenting with using the Otsblood ink to add some like blood to the scenes. And I went a little overboard on it since I did a lot of the blood like afterwards. So I was really like hyper focused on each character, and then when I was finally done, I was like, damn, I probably used way too much. So yeah. This one is just like a fan art dump of all my favorite Marvel characters basically, and just kind of thinking of as many as I could to fill the page with. And this one was done with a brush pen, and then went over with marker after doing some smudging to add a bit of shadow. And I also went over with a bit of an ink wash before I colored with markers as well. A little bit more of some superhero characters, and then it sort of went into more samurai stuff. There's an Oni back there. And I was kind of seeing if I could color with the Otsblood ink too. So a lot of the experimenting, and then doing the single tone or single color, sort of spot color, to split up the characters a lot. And it's also Wolverine, so he has a pretty recognizable costume. Then a bunch of like spider girls, some skulls and skeletons, and yeah, a lot of playing around with the sort of like chunking a bunch of areas to split up the page with the black ink. Same sort of idea. Basically trying to block out different areas with like grouped darkness. And then this one I kind of just wanted to go for a little bit more of a realistic and trying to do a little bit more of an accurate drawing from imagination. And then I couldn't I couldn't take it anymore after like doing the first couple of characters. I'm like, this is kind of boring as hell. So then I just went crazy and started like really warping the perspective to make it a little bit more interesting. But yeah, trying to do like a very realistic drawing kind of drives me crazy after a while. And then this one is like they're on a rooftop, and I wanted to do like a full scene. So there's some like cyborg ninjas. There's some like older samurai characters here too. And then this girl is trying to call on her phone. This one I was trying to do a more of a darker cinematic scene, and I ended up going a little too overboard with a lot of the ink, and my brush pen was also dying on me, and dumping out too much ink. So I was really trying to like balance it out, but I still kind of like this. If I added some color, it'd probably be a lot more readable. This one I was trying to do more of like a painter sort of way with the brush pen, and really trying to just smudge and do more like simplified characters, and doing more of like kind of like a camera effect. And then a lot of times this will happen when I try to go very realistic, then it sort of like feels so restrictive that then it kind of backfires, or I go the opposite route and then do more of like more chaotic and unrealistic stuff afterwards. So constant sort of balancing out that kind of happens with a lot of my interest or what I'm drawing, which is fine. I've kind of grown to like both sides really, and kind of trying to have them both in harmony and kind of like them be their own thing really. A lot of practicing different guns, and then kind of making it into like a weird goofy scene. And I was practicing, well, experimenting with like doing the flats, and sort of like trying to do the whole scene with flats. And also these ones also had a lot of marker bleed going through them, so I was trying to sort of make the most out of it and make it a little bit still workable. And this one was with the red brush pen. I was kind of seeing how that would look with marker over top. And this one was like, I want to just do some like things, sort of like Mayan or Aztec kind of design, and then adding cats. And then a lot of pen. This was the fountain pen with Otsblood ink, and basically just trying to get like as much mileage as I could, and just practice as many characters as possible. And I was using the pen to try to maximize how much detail and characters I could get on the page. Yeah, I'll kind of fly through these. If you want to see them, you can just pause the video or rewind. But yeah, there's a lot of these. A little hard to see on camera too, so don't want to spend too much time on them. And then went back to brush pen, and then trying out some like random scribbling to get some tone on a helmet. And from time to time I'll sort of like test out new things. Like this was doing the Otsblood fountain pen, and then added in I think a water, and I was trying to do a wash with the ink since it's water based, and then doing some random hatching with like a felt brush. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have in that one. It's like half full. Oh wait, no, sorry, there's actually more. I forget that that was not the end of it. I must have just skipped a couple pages. My own sketchbook sort of jukes me out. There's a lot more experimental stuff. A lot of blacks, and I can't remember what I did on this one. I think oh yeah, I did water with the Pentel brush. So the shading was very, very dark since it was just dragging off the ink. And this was a felt tip brush with markers and then going over with a ink wash on these characters over here. And then back to brush pen. More brush pen and trying to do a lot of separation with the blacks. And hair is probably one of the easiest. And then I was trying to do a bunch of different like characters to see what I could do. These two were at like a family gathering, and I I was a kid wanted me to draw his toys, and he had a Venom toy and an Iron Man toy, so I drew both of his toys and did some like side different iterations basically afterwards. Yeah, I did. This is supposed to be Iron Man. And then more brush pen. Add in the spot color to this character. And I find I like doing spot colors on the skin and really experimenting with that. It's really fun to do with like elves and a lot of characters like that where or like aliens where I can basically do whatever I want for the skin. This one was just a fine liner and then doing an ink wash over. I kind of like how this looks actually. I haven't done that sort of thing since. Shading with a bit of color to try to like just try new things really. This one I did in well in the car, so all of these were well, these two weren't in the car. Um, but yeah, a lot of these were like while I was walking around, so it was a little bit difficult to kind of be able to draw that way. And I was also trying to walk, so making sure I wouldn't run into anything. So it was kind of like a little bit of drawing, and then walking, and then drawing again. And this was some Spider-Man drawings, just from imagination, like usual, but just kind of really testing myself to see like how good my memory is, I guess. And I talk about a lot of my videos, but I usually like repeat the characters over and over to sort of get it a little bit closer each time. And then more brush pen and then a little bit of pen to kind of experiment a little and see like if the fine liner would split up the characters a little better. And that's it for that one. That one's like half done. Yeah, so I have a lot of different sketchbooks really going at the same time. And then this one I started maybe like a week or two ago. And this one was brush pen. And then this one actually worked out pretty nice because a lot of the coloring is actually from the page behind it. So it sort of like transferred and made it look a little cooler. And then I've been experimenting with like the outlines on a lot of recent stuff. I think it's really helped. And I've also been doing a lot more rendered drawings with the markers and going through and coloring and kind of doing multiple layers really now. And trying to get a little bit faster with that, but I've been having a lot of fun. And more fine line. Sometimes I'll just like grab a random pen that I haven't used in a while and sort of experiment out with it. This is the same pen as the last one, but then colored over with marker. And I was doing a lot of shading with the marker too. It's kind of fun to add boxes to sort of like check the layering, and also just to add something in the spaces. I find it gets really difficult to kind of come up with ideas to add in the very small spaces. I find it like a lot easier to get areas where there's enough room to make a full character. And this was like a sort of talking about and doing a demo on stream. This was from videos that I did, and this was a little doodle I did before I went to bed. And I was like trying to think of different ways to expand on the outline idea, and so I just like had to draw something. I wouldn't be able to sleep otherwise, so I was like experimenting with a black outline and then a gray one over. And that's why there's like a purple and green, and then these zombies and stuff were also trying to answer someone's question on stream. More video stuff I did. More videos. This one is from my arms videos. This one's from the arms videos. And then this one is from the face videos I did. Sort of how I go about drawing faces, and just kind of little tips, I guess. And these are all from imagination too. Like everything else that I draw, and except the Doctor Strange drawing, that's pretty much the only one that wasn't from my head. And then this one was sort of the female version of how to draw faces. And I always like to go like a little bit past and connect the face to something. So like the arms ones, and I talked about it in the videos too, but I think it's really, really helpful to sort of group as many things together when you're trying to learn something. I think best case scenario, like drawing the whole character out with maybe some sort of background or other characters to sort of interact with. But yeah, so that's gonna do it for showing off the sketchbooks and stuff that I've been doing for past month or two. So sort of like an update video. So yeah, thanks for watching everyone. I'll see you guys in the next one.